Good morning, and thank you for inviting me. This is my first time at the springtime STM meeting, and I'm really excited to be here. My name is Ed Liebow, and I am the executive director of the American Anthropological Association, which is based here in Washington. And of course, I'm also asked to speak on the subject about the role of a scholarly society in serving as a steward of knowledge. And so you may take my brief remarks here as a case study at a particular point in time. And some of you may be wondering, why anthropology? What's an anthropologist doing at an STM publishing conference? Well, we like to have it both ways in our field. We like to say that we are the most humanistic of the sciences and the most scientific of the humanities. And so I am an anthropologist by training, and I can tell you that my work before I went through the looking glass into association management had to do with stochastic models and social network structure and recalibrating dose models that help account for the health effects of indigenous people's exposure to nuclear weapons. And so my entire life has been spent in the community of people in the STM fields. So let me find a down arrow down here and tell you just a little bit about our association. We're 112 years old this year. And we have been publishing since the association began. We self-published until the year 2003. Our mission is to advance knowledge about the human condition and apply this knowledge to tackling the world's most pressing problems. We have about 12,000 members, 20% of whom are located outside the United States, and we publish a portfolio now that has 22 titles in it in partnership with Wiley-Blackwell since 2007, and we're very pleased with that partnership. And I think that this speaks to one element that Jose Maria was talking about earlier, the importance of collaboration. We found that in our self-publishing endeavor, starting in the by the time we reached the end of the 20th century, that was headed for a disastrous course, and we needed to find a partnership who could help to professionalize what had been an all-volunteer enterprise at that point, and take advantage of the global reach and new technology platforms that were emerging at that time. And so this partnership for us has been very good, and I think it's been very good for Wiley-Blackwell as well. So we, in our association, constituted a publishing futures advisory group that consists of librarians and editors and people familiar with a range of business models, as well as a few scholars that we were able to rope into this enterprise. And we have been wrestling with what the future might look like for us for a number of years. And of course, this is not something where you can simply check the box and say, fine, we're done. We have this sense that, like many scholarly societies, we're navigating with imperfect information through underexplored territory based on the sort of maps that we have now of this landscape. That we're constantly discovering that our preconceptions of what the future might look like are being revised as we speak. And now just to mix my metaphors, Chairman Mao, who's often misquoted as saying, "Let 1,000 flowers bloom." In fact, I think the translation is "let 100 flowers bloom." And this is my approach in managing this exploratory enterprise. We're not going to take on just any old sort of experiment just for the heck of it. We don't have the resources to do that, and we do have some history that tells us what the likelihood of success is, but we're open to a number of different kinds of innovations, and we'll continue to try them out and see what sticks and learn from the failures as well in order to develop a catalog of promising practices. Our futures group, I think this is the part of this that is perhaps most important. Jose Marie was talking earlier about top-line values, and for us, for the scholarly society, we've worked long and hard, had a vigorous public conversation among our members in the field of anthropology about the core values that should guide the future of our publishing, and we've tried to narrow this down to four, the first of which is quality, which of course refers to the rigorous intellectual content of the material. We are the content curators for the world of readers inside the field and outside as well. But quality also concerns efficiency and effectiveness of execution. And this, I think, was one of the downfalls of our earlier incarnation as self-publishers. We weren't always able to deliver on time. We weren't always meeting our own internal quality standards. And, of course, that was part of, I think, the reason why we were looking for external partners. We also think that breadth of our portfolio is important as a core value. We want to preserve the diversity of intellectual perspectives in our discipline, and another sense of breadth that also encompasses the diverse audiences that may be interested in specialized knowledge without us having this balkanized field that consists simply of the agglomeration of highly specialized sub-niches of knowledge. We're interested in integrating findings from across the main sub-disciplines of our field, linguistics and biology and archaeology, as well as cultural anthropology, and we think that there is great wisdom in preserving that breadth in order to benefit from the cross-pollination. Accessibility to our work is an important core value for us, both past and future, and so permanent archiving becomes a concern for us. And finally, financial sustainability. Notice that this is sustainable. In my discussions, this is a core value, but it's only one of four in my discussions with our volunteer leadership, the board members, the thought leaders in our field. We're constantly receiving pushback saying, Ed, now that you've gone into this other world, all you seem to be concerned about is the bottom line of money. And I need to be able to point out, armed with this ammunition, that I in fact believe, like the parable of the tiger that we heard earlier this morning, that it is absolutely important, essential that we actually have a financially viable publishing program. But if these other pieces are in place, that will have a much greater probability of being achieved. If we have a quality program, if we serve a breadth of audiences, and we make our findings accessible and discoverable so that people are able to understand the important contributions that people from this field of knowledge make to tackling the world's most pressing problems, I believe our chances of being able to manage our costs and produce revenues in a sustainable fashion are much greater. And with that, I know there are lots of questions. You may be following the path of our portfolio in other venues, and I'm happy to try to answer them during the discussion period. Thanks.